Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, August 24th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread. First card we are starting our day off with today, 7 of Pentacles. I'm going to say it again. The retrograde is almost over. Do not lose patience. Do not get upset. Do not get triggered. We see even now there could be a lot of frustrations that are occurring, a little bit of energetic shortness right now. So I want you guys to be drinking your water. I want you to be I want you to be calm. I don't want you to be triggered, because a lot of this work right now, we're reaching that tail end of the retrograde. So it can start to feel like a little bit of a slog. It is having a little bit of a reverse impact for masculine and feminine, because we did see that masculine entered this retrograde feeling very restless. You're getting a little bit better masculine with navigating that. A lot of this work that we're seeing that the masculine's been working through right now during this retrograde is building a better sense of patience. And that patience is also coming into balance with navigating one's own emotionality. For feminine, this is coming through as a little bit more energetic exhaustion right now, because for a lot of the feminine energy, this retrograde has been one of really pushing forward in practical ways any areas that you are feeling any of those slowdowns with. So we see even now a little bit of energetic frustration that may be coming through, a little bit of this sensation of like not necessarily having enough time or needing enough time, which is ironic given the fact that we saw that so much of this retrograde was about the stretching of time. So just be a little patient with yourself today and those around you. This could also be indicative of like timing issues on things. So make sure, this is giving me a little bit of this energy today. Measure twice, cut once. Don't do anything from a place of like frustration. Now, for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this has to do with more of that trust test that we were seeing that was occurring for masculine and feminine. Because if these are experiences or circumstances or situations where energy is moving into divine union, and there has been an articulation about what those plans are going forward, there's a lot of that recognition point of the energy, understanding that feminine is still in that modality of feeling uncertainty and relationality to trust. So we see even now that this could be a lot of that energy looking in terms of how to bring those words into action. But this is going to feel more productive. This is going to feel more hopeful. This is going to feel more like an easement point, because this is the energy that is showing compassion to one another right now by not allowing or causing one to be in a state of waiting. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, this could be energy that's moving forward right now. There could be a lot of energy right now over the last few days that potentially got clarity in relationality to what the circumstances are around in a situation in separation. For some of that energy, it's leading to breakthrough points, that clarity, that determination, the expression of the emotions combined with the ability to articulate what that looks like in relationality to commitment going forward. That's creating that breakthrough. For a lot of energy, if that's that modality where you haven't necessarily seen this, this could be a moment that either this is the energy that has articulated what the differences are in the manifestation goals that are allowing for healthy separation. But and this is why I was stressing it's so important right now to be able to articulate on what those manifestation goals are. Because if these are experiences or modalities where someone has asked for that and they're not receiving it, today is the day we see someone drawing their own conclusions. Today is the day we see that a lot of energy potentially is feeling that sense that like one's own ability to articulate through something, one's own ability to be able to give that sense of clarity. If not present, that is the clarity. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, this could just be the moving forward. This could be the breakthrough in a breakdown. This could be the breakthrough in a breakdown, recognizing what the hurdle is in a connection, even if it's not being articulated, that is allowing someone to move forward. But even in that modality, I want to say, coming into the culmination of this work in the retrograde, the ability of someone to perceive that, but not necessarily even have to have it given towards them. Simply the ability to see what is happening, like in the circumstance itself. This is some of the gift that is occurring for energy and separation that's navigating that right now. Because this is the energy that is, I want to say, it's not the sense of drawing, it's the ability to draw conclusions, but feeling validated and vindicated in drawing those conclusions because you've given the opportunity for another to be able to provide that clarification for you, right? Like it's so totally okay to draw conclusions if there's a modality where you've asked someone for something conclusive and you haven't received it. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Second card in our 5-card spread. We have here our Page of Cups. So we see even now, I have to say, for some of the energy and separation experiencing it, simply the ability to do this. Simply the ability to not let yourself get all caught up in it. This is energy that's not, that's if it's like, I want to put it this way. This is the energy and separation that is learning the ability to understand that if someone's acting foolishly, you shouldn't have to take it personally. Right? Like this is a lot of that energy and separation that's just articulating and building upon that fact that if someone's acting foolishly, you don't have to take it personally. And also that like energy that's acting foolishly, they're not necessarily giving a modality of explaining that foolishness, right? So there's a lot of this energy and separation that is either recognizing and identifying situations and circumstances wherein they have to draw their own conclusions. And a lot of those conclusions that we're potentially seeing that are occurring in those modalities is some kind of recognition of someone who prioritizes their own pleasure. Because often energy that does not articulate upon their manifestation goals is energy that is prioritizing their own pleasure to such an extent that they're not necessarily looking to build into union. It's just simply that, it's that simple. There's just some energy. I mean, when we read for the divine union frequency, we have to recognize not all energy wants to be in the divine union frequency. And this is why for so much of the energy navigating this, that observational point, that's potentially the breakthrough. Because that modality, not assuming that someone desires or aspires for the same things as you, seeking that clarity, and either receiving it by way of a counterpart that articulates in the expression of their manifestation goals a desire to co-create with you. This is the energy that is receiving the gift of being able to facilitate and recognize what that looks like versus what it doesn't. And a lot of that has to be a bit of the gift of the past coming back to the surface, because if there's energy right now that is in separation, that's feeling and experiencing something that is familiar, and then being able to navigate and draw forth in that expression of someone not giving that point of clarity. This is the energy that is getting, that the gift is getting better at recognizing that, getting better at identifying it, and not allowing oneself to feel the frustration or taking it energetically personally when you experience it. Just accepting it as it is, but also accepting that in modalities like that, it's very frequent and common for energy in that space or place not to prioritize giving clarity because they are prioritizing the pathwork of the self. So for a lot of the energy right now, this could be the closing out of some energetic cycles while the opening of new ones. Like this is energy that's just coming almost immediately into new prioritization due to the fact of being able to summarily draw an energetic conclusion for oneself. And for a lot of the energy in that modality of separation, that could feel like a breakthrough, right? Because being able to navigate something that would have potentially energetically devastated you in the past, but now just recognizing it and seeing it in a modality that makes it very clear to perceive, that is the gift of of your own clarity that's coming through for so much of that energy and separation. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, this could even be like energy putting themselves forward, moving onward. Like, and I want to say, like, there's a little bit of this situation here where we see that I need to stress this, some energy and separation, not taking it personally, just acknowledging it and just feeling that immediate release and relief because you see something, but you're not trying to ask yourself why someone isn't in the modality you're in. Just seeing it and recognizing it as such, it's allowing for a lot of this energy to move towards our manifestation goals with greater easement. Because again, when we move towards our manifestation goals, we don't try to change someone into our manifestation goal. We seek the energy that's in alignment with ourselves. So we see even now, like a lot of that energy is like like just going forward. But even in that ability of doing so, this is the energy, and this is some of that Leo. This is like the final like pat on the shoulder of like the Leo season departing, saying, good for you. You're not taking it personally. Good for you. You're recognizing that that's not something that you're cultivating within. It's something that you need to perceive without. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is the energy that are having those breakthroughs. This is and I need to stress, this is what's funny about this, is there's two different modalities here that are occurring for the energy coming into divine union. Some of these energies coming into divine union, I'm just going to tell you now, some of these energies that are coming into divine union right now are the energies that just clarified and stepped away from each other by articulating and saying that they have different manifestation goals. Because for some of that energy, just the ability of coming into a point of compassion, prioritizing the care of the counterpart beyond one's own personal needs and goals. That is the definitive sign of energy that is moving towards divine union, because even in the act of separating, there was healthy collaboration that was occurring in that moment and mindfulness. So we see even now that is the opening up of different potential possibilities in the long term, recognizing and identifying that manifestation goals can change. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now that have that alignment, that not only did the masculine approach the feminine by the articulation of the emotions, but match that with an ability of speaking towards the adjustments that they want to make in relationality to going forward. We see a lot of that energy right now is moving with a lot of expediency. Why? Because masculine may be recognizing and identifying that feminine is in a modality wherein they're holding their heart at a distance. Feminine's doing a lot of heart healing here based upon a lot of that work in the trust space. So there's a lot of masculine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but I see it feel what that feels most aligned to. In relationality to working to facilitate showing the feminine that what you are saying to them isn't just words, that you're putting those words into action. While for masculine and feminine energy that are coming into divine union, a lot of this energy coming into divine, like deep within divine union right now, this is just exhaustive energy. I gotta say, this is just a lot of that energy that's been putting a lot of effort and work in over the last few days. Masculine, I want to say this right now. I see a lot of energy right now putting a heavy degree of work in for a point of easement. Like this is a lot of energy that's trying to I want to say get stuff across the finish line to a certain extent. And it's funny because it almost feels like the retrograde is the finish line. Like there's something here about trying to get as much done as possible right now. Probably, I know why. We've got eclipse season coming up. So this is that preparedness that may be occurring right now that we're seeing prior to that eclipse season. Because even here, if you're feeling a little, I gotta say this, if you're deep within divine union right now and you're feeling a little bit of this, you know what I mean? Like that like really trying, like being like, why do I feel like I need to get all this done? This is why, because there's some kind of sense of easement in recognizing that there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs that are potentially occurring during those eclipse periods. And often the way we can kind of navigate those eclipse periods is I want to say this. You want to get as much preloaded before the eclipse season starts, because the eclipse season usually amplifies, right? So do the stuff now so you get the amplification point when the eclipses arrive. Third card in our 5-card spread is, we've got here, you see our two of wands, a lot of preparation, a lot of communication, a lot of planning right now for a lot of energy deep within divine union. This is just like busy work. But again, it's a little bit of this that I'm seeing here is so much of this work that I'm seeing, it's facilitating communication. And I'm going to say this again. Please listen to me. Do not take anything personally right now. Do not take anything personally right now during this retrograde season, because it's just you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You cannot take anything personally right now. Now is not a time to be getting on a high horse about anything. This is none of this like, I need to speak to your manager kind of. Trust me, you're going to feel really silly. And if I see some energy now, if you've done that already, you may be feeling a little silly right now, because I got a little bit of this silliness here with our Page of Cups here. Because again, there's clarity that's now coming through. This is the clarity that we saw that's coming through. And I was telling you guys not to take things personally, because the clarification, the wheels are being greased back now in communication. So now you're probably getting back. Things are getting back to you. And the explanations that you may be receiving, if you were feeling prideful or you were taking something personally, might be making you feel a little silly. So just be mindful of that. I hope you listen to me, okay? Well, for masculine, but this is productive. This is positive. This is encouraging. Keep doing that work. Don't continue to do that work. Don't take things personally right now. Trust me. Please don't take things personally right now. I'll be so upset at you, okay? Don't take it personally. Get productive. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. We see here, we see even now, a lot of this work that's being facilitated at this point. What we're effectively recognizing and identifying. This is energy that's like moving forward with plans. For feminine, seeing masculine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Not just saying something, but putting words into action. This is the feminine energy that's starting to move into that space of energetic relief, because the feminine does not believe in a commitment in the moment that it is articulated. A feminine believes in a commitment when they see it coming into being. So a lot of this feminine energy is starting to work on building into that point of trust, especially and particularly if they're working with masculine, that not only is expressing their emotions and how they feel, but are putting a lot of plans in place to try to enact and build forth towards those feelings. For masculine and feminine energy right now, and even here, if this was energy, I got to say, there's some energy coming into divine union right now that are basically like they're parting ways. Like they're parting ways and they're coming into divine union. You're saying to me, well, how is that possible? Because in the moment, you have to understand, in the moment that energy articulates honestly to one another, gives each other the gift of giving forth and telling each other what they dream, even if that dream is not in alignment, the possibility that it someday could be allows for a healthy closure point with the possibility of anything being possible at some point in the future. So there could be some energy right now that is separating, and guess what? They may come back together down the line because of the clarity, the clear pathway that they basically gave to one another in the articulation point of what those manifestation goals are, that help like they gave each other the maps. It's like they departed from one another, but they handed each other the maps and said, if you change your mind, you'll know where I am. I'd love it if you would join me there, right? So we see even here, this is that energy that is why we talk about that healthy karma, because it is giving, it's a separation, but it's not a separation of taking something personally, not taking it personally, getting productive, giving someone, departing from someone, but almost like energetically saying, I'm sorry that this is where we have to depart, but here's a map, here's a compass, I'll be over there. If anything changes, you know where to find me. This is what these energies are doing to one another, for one another. And in that modality, they've already entered the divine union together to a certain extent because they know where they will be within it. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation, the only modality that I am seeing separation occurring in now, like true, honest separation, and it's very final. If these are circumstances or situations wherein someone expressed the emotions, but did not give clarity as to what that means in relationality to commitment going forward. This potentially, and feminine, working on those boundaries, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Saying to masculine, your expression of emotions is not a commitment. It's not that it's not true. It's not that it's not valid. You can have all the feelings in the world for someone, but it doesn't mean that you want to path with them. So a lot of that feminine energy saying to masculine, what do those emotions mean? Because if you don't give a plan, if you don't tell me your dream at the time of expressing emotions, you're not giving me a gift. You're giving me an anchor. You're not giving me wings. You're holding me down. It's not a gift. It's an energetic burden. If this is feminine energy that has asked for that clarity and not received it, there's a lot of energy right now that may just be moving forward. that may just be moving forward as it relates to their own path work, because this is the observational point and the breakthrough. And this could be happening for masculine as well here, because I don't see, this could be happening either way, because this is the energy that is simply recognizing and identifying that not all energy desires to be in divine union. An energy that does not desire to be in divine union will usually not articulate upon what their path work or plan is going forward, because the articulation of saying that the prioritization of one's personal path is such that you don't want to co-create a path work forward with another is often something that someone does not want to articulate. You just have to divine. You just have to perceive. And that ability to perceive it is the gift of the energy in separation, because the energy in separation is recognizing someone's not going to say that to you. You just got to recognize it. Continuing to get clarification. But even in that gift, that is the gift. Like, that is the gift that is being given to those that are not being given the gift of clarity. The clarity is coming either way. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is Knight of Wands, right? So this is beautiful energy that we're seeing that's potentially happening here. The beauty of this is for a lot of the energy in separation, because this is hard. This is heavy. This is frustrating, because this is potentially energy in separation that is feeling the frustration of potentially feeling like they don't want their time wasted, right? So we see even now that this is, I have to say right now, if this is energy that would have been devastated, that would have been beating themselves up, asking themselves why someone wouldn't give clarity, the ability of someone to look at something and say, it hasn't broken me, it just annoys me. Like, the ability of, I have to say, healing comes in many forms. So the ability to take something that would have devastated you and just been like that, I gotta tell you, if you're feeling that, congratulations, you're on the path to healing. And I want you to recognize how far you've come. Because if there's something here, you're already moving towards your manifestation goals. Because if you're not internalizing the problem, if you're not trying to change a rock into a rose, if you're not like sitting there and beating yourself up around a place where your manifestation goal is, you've gotten better at finding your manifestation, because again, you're looking for it. You're not trying to cultivate it in someone. So that's a lot of that energy that is just like, again, your annoyance is your healing, because you have to tell yourself, if this is occurring, what's annoying me would have devastated in the past. And if something is annoying you instead of devastating you, I want you to recognize that's the strength of the Leo season that you just got a nice little dose of. That is the ego. That is the healthy ego, because that is the energy of the ego that hits the wall of it, but it doesn't get through because you're not taking it personally. You're just recognizing it for what it is. You're just seeing it, and the ability to see it is the gift. So we see even now, and this is happening for both masculine and feminine, the ability to experience something that would have kind of destroyed you in the past, and instead just getting up and going like this. Like this is that appreciation, leaving Leo season and recognizing how much stronger you've become. The annoyance is the healing. It really is. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it is, because it's like, it's like the thing that would have knocked you down is like, it feels like it's a fly, right? Like that is beautiful. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, and the funny thing about this, I'm going to say, I've got 2 different modalities coming into divine union right now. I've got the modality of those coming into divine union that literally just said goodbye to one another. They just said goodbye to one another. They said goodbye to one another because they had an honest conversation about manifestation goals. They articulated to each other what those were in a place of openness and compassion. They had a moment of disappointment in recognizing that they did not share the same manifestation goal, and they parted ways. And they gave each other the maps. And they said, if anything changes, you are lovely. You know where I am. I would love to see you at some point there, but I understand if our roads not cross again. And in that modality of doing that, immediate healing. They're already in the divine union frequency together to a certain extent, because they know where to find one another. While for masculine and feminine energy that are moving in alignment in terms of the plans together, This is a lot of energy that's just moving very quickly upon those plans. Thank you. They're doing a lot of that work. And this is what's beautiful about this is I see a lot of the masculine energy that is moving very, 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 very quickly right now towards feminine. Because if this is feminine, that even in the expression of plans, feminine is like holding their heart space, not being sure if that's coming true or not. I see a lot of healthy masculine energy that's doing everything in their power. This is actually masculine energy that is doing everything in their power to facilitate that, because I got to say, masculine energy is potentially worried about other masculine energy. Masculine energy is actually worried about other masculine energy coming in. Like, all right, I don't need to hear anything else. Like, whoop, like just really very, very quickly. While for masculine and feminine energy deep within the divine union frequency right now, this is speed. This is just knocking things out, getting things done. Lots of quick things today. Just getting as much done as possible. It's feeling a little bit like finish line energy, because there's something about the conclusion. I told you, it's because of stretching out of time. What's happening now is we've got the stretching out of time before the end of the retrograde cycle, combined with the feeling of the eclipses that are coming next month. So this is giving a little bit of this, like, running to get as much done before the conclusion of the month kind of thing, prior to the conclusion of the retrograde, when things start picking up and things start moving faster. This is the energy that's trying to get as much done now while things are slow during the retrograde. I told you, you can use retrogrades to your advantage if you're just mindful of them. Fifth card of our 5-card spread. They can be very helpful. Again, 5 of Wands, because when time is slowed down, you can get a lot more done in the time and space in between. So we've got a lot of energy right now that's just trucking away, getting as much done as possible. Utilizing the retrograde energy to your advantage is going to help here, and getting as much done as possible. So we see even now that there's a lot of that energy that's doing that work right now. But this is like giving me a little like work hard, play hard kind of thing. There's some energy right now that's trying to get a lot done because of that feeling of being able to work, then gives you some feeling of easement in relationality to resting. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is, again, either the energy that is like departing from one another. And I know you're looking at me and saying, like, that's wild that you're saying they're departing. It's not. Time is relative. So the ability to recognize, these are energies that prioritized a healing path, even with someone that they cared about, beyond the personal self. What do you think happens when that occurs? What do you think happens when you build a connection with someone that they recognized and they valued, and they prioritized what you wanted over what you desired, and you had clear communication with it, you had clear articulation? That is energy that feels like they are leaving one another in a place of profound love and profound care. There's every possibility that those energies are going to stay in connectivity at some point, in some way, shape, or fashion, and potentially might move back into connection at some other point later in time. The only space and place I see that this is just complete dead stop kind of energy are situations and circumstances wherein someone asks for the clarification and not just the expression of emotions. The emotions are not enough. The expression of the emotions is one half of the equation and what you need for healthy partnership. Emotions are good. A plan is commitment. Commitment is the difference than being at someone's disposal. We were talking a lot about this yesterday. What is commitment? Commitment is the energetic situation or scenario wherein you build forth with a place of shared emotions, and then you share those emotions to build plans together. You are co-creating your manifestation goals together. Being at someone's disposal is someone that is articulating a desire for you but does not give clarity as to what they want in the long term, but they want to be able to express the emotions by way of having accessibility to you when and how and if it suits them. So for a lot of energy right now, recognizing the difference between energy that wants to build a commitment with someone, as opposed to desiring to have someone at their disposal. This is what is allowing a lot of energy that would have taken it personally in the past to experience that would have gone through some kind of internal labyrinth to try to understand what was going on. The ability to just see that and recognize it is the gift that's happening right now for energy and separation, that's leaving the retrograde but not coming into divine union, because that gift of insight is going to help you be able to find one as you proceed forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Page of Cups in its upright. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with clarification with our Moon card in its reversal. The clarification is clarification. So there's a lot of energy right now that is just building that point of insight. Bang, ding, ding, bing, light bulb, light bulb, light bulb on the top of your head. So that ability of having that light bulb moment, this is the energy that's looking towards something and saying, and this is the energy in separation that's saying to themselves, I see clearly that energy that doesn't want to give me clarity does not want to create clarity because they don't want you to see clearly. You don't need to look, you don't go towards someone that isn't giving you clarity and ask them why they're not giving you clarity. Clarity is something that's either there or it's not. And if you're feeling confusion because someone's not giving you clarity, the confusion is the clarity. The confusion is the clarity. The confusion is someone that is prioritizing their own path work to such an extent that they won't give you clarity as to whether you're co-creating with them, because usually indicates that you're not. If someone's not giving you clarity as to what's happening going forward, it's because they're giving you clarity by saying that there's no co-creating with them. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, navigating those spaces and places, building forth into that path work, recognizing and identifying that. This is the energy that's just coming into that point of acceptance and letting that navigate the path going forward. That's the clarity. So even here, for a lot of that energy, looking forward and saying, when I look towards energetic connections going forward, I need to recognize if they're looking for building towards commitment or if they're just seeking to have someone at their disposal, right? Those are the differences in terms of how someone builds forth. The energy that is commitment will always articulate about what their manifestation goals are. Energy that is desiring someone at their disposal will never give clarity, but will just articulate the emotions to try to anchor you in place so that they can kind of facilitate building forward in that way that feels like it energetically suits them. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that has clarity. And what's funny about this is potentially even energy that is parting ways. This is potentially energy, this is half the energy I see coming into divine union right now, is parting ways. They're saying, thank you, it was so nice meeting you. We want different things. Even in that modality, there's still the possibility of them being in divine union, because these are the energies that recognize with love, grace, and compassion the gift of the clarity that they're giving to one another to help facilitate and ease them on their path going forward. And when we prioritize others' paths, there's no greater act of compassion that we provide in that moment. Because that clarification is the ability to say, I'm trying to co-create, and I recognize that there's nothing worse than not being given that clarity to be able to choose that destination. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, recognizing, identifying that, being able to come into a point of clarity, even if there's separation, this is now energy that's in a point of contemplation. This is energy that's in a point of contemplation. They're thinking about the other person's manifestation goals. Even here, I told you, some of that energy is going, is there a way to connect these? Like trying to figure out if there's some way to still keep into that point of connection. So we see even now, while for other energy right now, this is a lot of energy that's moving very quickly and facilitating into deepening of connection, because this is that modality or experience that we're seeing to a certain extent that is allowing for the energy that's like building into that space of trying to earn back, like either earning back trust by putting words to action, or this is energy that is recognizing the difference and the valuation between putting words to action that helps someone recognize and understand the difference between what is just words versus what is tangibly occurring. While for energy right now, deep within the divine union, a lot of this work that I see is being facilitated. I want to say, this is just work. This is energy that's trying to clear as many things off of their plate today as possible. This is a lot of the energy deep within the divine union frequency right now is just like, it's like all engines are firing, because there's something about this which is like trying to get as much done as possible. because, and it's actually interesting, they're saying it's getting as much done as possible because the retrograde is closing out. And the retrograde has been slowing things down to such a degree that it's allowing the ability to get a lot more done. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Cups right now in combination with our Two of Wands. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. So this is just, I gotta say, I want to, like, listen, anyone within divine union right now, make sure that you're resting, make sure that you're drinking your water, because I just see so much of this energy right now trying to get so much done, like just like just trying to get like a lot of fierce activation today, wrapping things up, starting things up, getting things tied up, because, and I think that this is, again, this is because of that feeling. It's like, I want to call it like, it's like that squirrel energy, right? It's like that energy of like excitement, trying to get as much done because we're reaching the conclusion of we're reaching the conclusion of the Mercury retrograde prior to the eclipse season. So there's a lot of that feeling of energetic like preparation, or not feeling like you have enough time to energetically prepare. So this is a lot of like getting things done to a certain extent. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, this is a lot, that I have to say this. This is why, like this ability, like this is either the energy that is going through a tremendous amount of healing, because this is the energy that is recognizing, even if they're coming into separation in this way, what a gift another person just gave them in the way that they've come into separation, because that is the gift that is raising the energetic standards going forward. This is the energy that's saying, I will never forget how well that we handled that. I will never forget how honest that person was. I will never forget how clear that circumstance or situation was, because this is the energy that says that is now the standard that I'm holding going forward. That person gave me a gift, and the gift was their presence, a gift in showing how simple it could be, even in a moment, in recognizing that we effectively that we wanted different things. So this is energy that is in that point of contemplation about what is possible, potentially even looking at their own manifestation goals, or these are energies that recognize that their manifestation goals are in alignment and are now doing everything possible to facilitate fast action towards them, feeling a lot of that same energetic equivalent that we see that the energy deep within the divine union is feeling, in that ability of wanting to build trust and showing someone the difference between the words that match action versus just words. Continuing to get clarification for energy and separation right now, I have to say, a little bit of this breakthrough that we're seeing that is occurring for so much of this energy and separation is your own ability to navigate something that would have been much more energetically devastating in the past. Because if these are experiences, if these are circumstances that you would have taken personally, that you would have agonized, that you would have beaten yourself up about, that you would have sat there and been like, why does this always happen to me? Like, instead just being like, oh, that's just how they are. That's not me, that's them. They don't want the same things I want. That ability of seeing that, receiving that, and recognizing the difference between energy that wants to build on a path of commitment versus energy that is seeking those that are at their disposal. This is a lot of that energy that's just like, oh, that makes things a lot easier going forward, because like that's the energy that just recognizes and identifies that not all energy desires to be in divine union. And once you have that like moment and recognize it, it makes it a heck of a lot easier going forward, because you don't ask yourself what you're doing wrong. You just recognize that someone's not right for you. Continuing to get clarification between our Two of Wands in combination with our Knight of Wands and its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Cups in its reversal. Love to see this card. I know it sounds funny that I'm saying that I love to see the Six of Cups, but I actually do in this context, because this is the energy, the beauty that's happening for a lot of energy in separation right now is not asking oneself why a relationship isn't working. It's recognizing the qualities and the characteristics of the energetic connections. And so for a lot of the energy right now, that mindfulness in relationality to being like, I want to say this, like having that type of like ability to identify and recognize the health of an energetic connection, whether what someone is bringing forth to you is what you desire. This is energy that is looking and investigating the quality and the nature of a relationship, not just coming into the assumption that all of the relationships are the same going forward. This is the energy that is being very mindful of the quality and nature of an energetic connection, because you can be in partnership with someone forever and it can be awful. You can be in an unhealthy connection with someone for inevitably. You can choose that can happen. But we see even now, this is a lot of the energy in separation saying quality, not quantity. The quality of a relationship is significant. And so we see even now, this is a lot of energy that if these are modalities, we're simply trying to articulate. And I'll tell you right now, if trying to articulate upon, if something as simple as trying to articulate upon the nature of a relationship sends someone running in the opposite direction, that's probably a sign that they're not seeking a healthy energetic connection. That's probably a sign that that is not someone that is showing an ability to express, the ability to do the work that is necessary to maintain a healthy energetic partnership. Because if you don't want to speak towards it, you don't want to acknowledge that it exists. So we see even now that there's a lot of that energy that is effectively moving out of a situation that they would have been agonizing over in the past, reaffirming to themselves that if the ability of someone not to speak towards a relationship is basically an inability to acknowledge that a relationship exists, is usually an ability to acknowledge someone that is not seeking an energetic relationship, is usually acknowledging someone who is looking for someone that is more just at their energetic disposal, as opposed to wanting to build forth into a healthy, energetic, divine connection. So we see even now, like a lot of the energy is getting a bit zero sum on it. Like it's getting a bit like it's either there or it's not. And in the moment that you identify that is the moment that you start to heal, because you don't hold yourself personally responsible if you experience someone on that path. You don't try to change them. You don't want to try to cultivate that in them. You just let them go. You just let them go do what they want to do. You say to someone, have fun with that. It's not my cup of tea. So we see even now for a lot of that energy, being able to recognize and identify and do that work. This is what's healing, because it's allowing you to move away from something with greater easement in the time of not energetically taking it personally, because that's the energy that says if you ask for an explanation for something and an explanation doesn't come, you're perfectly valid and validated to draw your own conclusions. Continuing to get clarification for energy right now coming into divine union, this is why even if energy is coming in separation right now, there's still a tremendous possibility that there could be a union that is occurring there down the line. Because if these are energies that had those difficult conversations that said, the choice that I'm offering you is telling you what I aspire and desire to build with you. And if this is energy that says what you desire and what I aspire are not the same, this is the energetic equivalent of saying to one another, thank you. Thank you for providing what no one else would provide prior to this, because this is the energy that is now going to utilize that lesson going forward in terms of seeing how easy it can be when we navigate those conversations with compassion, with mindfulness, and most of all, with the prioritization of someone else's choice being integral. You can't just accidentally stumble into a divine union partnership. It has to be one of mutual choice. It has to be one of mutual choice. Continuing to clarification for a lot of the energy right now, a lot of this energy right now in deep within divine union, this is just the energy that's continuing forward right now, not taking things energetically personally, just getting productive. And even here, there's something about that, like I can see that some of the energy is getting frustrated at energy around them at this time. But what is this energy doing? They're giving others the benefit of the doubt. They're giving others the benefit of the doubt, because this is the energy that's giving each other the benefit of the doubt, that's saying, again, everybody's going through the retrograde too. Why am I going to take something personally? They could be going through something difficult right now. They could be going through something awful. That distance, you don't know what's happening. And so we see even now the ability of not allowing oneself to take something energetically personally. That's what's allowing that energy to just kind of, again, continue forward to a certain extent, of assuming and building into that space or state of saying, if there's something there that's occurring that feels like it's energetically confusing, this is the energy saying, I'm not going to chase after trying to get clarity. I'm going to let that be a space or place of patience and assume, and I'm not going to assume that if I hear hoofbeats, they're zebras and not horses, right? So we see even now that a lot of that energy is just kind of moving forward. I'm going to say it again. If you're deep within divine union doing this work, don't you dare take anything personally right now. You're going to regret it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to look silly. You're going to look silly. Trust me. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Wands in combination with our 10 of Wands in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we've got here our 9 of Swords, our 9 of Swords. So, continuing right now, the only thing I'm seeing right now, again, that's hard, the difficulties right now within this type of energy, they have to do with feeling like you don't have enough time, right? Because we see even now that there's a little bit of wonkiness that's happening with time in this retrograde. Things are moving slow. I bet I'm gonna tell you right now it's happening, right? Are things moving slowly but you feel like you can't get anything done? Are things moving slowly but you feel like you don't have enough time to get anything done? Does it feel like things are moving slowly but you also don't feel like you can get anything done? Is it frustrating you? Okay, now before you get upset that someone else isn't reaching out to you in the same way, imagine that they're going through the same thing right now too. Imagine that they're going through the same exact thing right now too. And then you'll get a good idea about why you're gonna regret if you take something personally right now, instead of just letting yourself be productive during this time. Continuing to get clarification between the energy coming into divine union. Again, one of two different modalities that are happening. This may seem, because what we're effectively seeing right now is either these situations and circumstances wherein we have masculine and feminine energy right now, that again, these are either energies that are coming in there, and I know you're going to say this wild, they are coming into divine union at a point of separation. They're departing from one another. They're saying to one another, we want different things. We had a hard conversation. We talked about the manifestation goals. We recognized and identified that we wanted very different things. We thanked one another. We moved forward. There may be a lot of and then. There may be a lot of and then that happens after that point, because I'm seeing even now like that is bittersweet, and we have that energy that is working through that to a certain extent, and they're still going even in separation. They're going, maybe is there any way to get these things to stick together? Is there any way to get these manifestation goals to join up? Now, for some of the energy right now, if this is alignment moment, This is the energy making those accommodations, making those adjustments, and moving very quickly. Moving, I see a lot of fast speed here right now. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, this is why some of that energy, and what I have to stress right now, if you're frustrated, I want to point this out. If you are frustrated right now in separation, I really want you to ask yourself, are you frustrated with something that would have devastated you a year ago? Are you frustrated with something that would have devastated you? Is there something from the past that you were able to take forward that gave you clarity in a way that feels like you just avoided something? Because that is a good articulation in relationality to what we've been seeing that has been occurring right now within the divine union. And a lot of this work that we're seeing is the energy that I'm seeing in separation, the insight, the recognition, seeing something and saying, that's not a me problem. I need to recognize and understand that some energy, it does not desire divine union. They're just looking for energy that is at their disposal. They're just focusing on path work that is primary and singular to the self. This is energy that's going, I'm not being bitter. I'm not blaming them. I'm recognizing it. This could be energy that's annoyed if that clarity isn't being given. The reason the energy is holding the energy accountable for that is because the energy has not gone through the process of being able to articulate what they want. And when we don't articulate with clarity what we want, that is how we create unhealed karmic connections. Because when we don't clarify what we want, we breed confusion. We create pain. So we see even now the ability of the energy just to recognize that that's happening and separate from it is the healing that is occurring for a lot of the energy in separation, because that is the energy that says, I'm not investing in something that is giving all indications that will only create pain. And the pain comes from the lack of clarity. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now is the Moon card in combination, in reverse, in combination with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Emperor in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. This is why, if this is occurring right now, this is sad. This is disappointing for feminine, but it's not devastating, right? Why is it not devastating? Because we see that for a lot of the feminine energy navigating these spaces and places, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. That is the feminine energy that's looking towards masculine. If this is masculine energy that has not found the ability to articulate upon what their manifestation goals are, or doesn't know what those manifestation goals are, either way, this is feminine energy almost looking from that towards that energy with a sadness, with like a sake of it's almost like disappointment, sadness towards that energy. Because that is the feminine energy that looks towards masculine and says that masculine has not become, they lack the energetic confidence to be able to be forthright, to be able to be in integrity, to be able to stand, to speak something from their chest. So we see even now that that's the feminine energy that looks towards masculine and almost says, and this is why the pain comes, because this is the feminine looks towards masculine in that way and goes, that's either happening for one of two different reasons. That's either happening because that is a masculine that has a manifestation goal that is so beyond the pale that they don't want to reveal it for fear that I would not describe to it. Or this is feminine energy looking towards masculine going, or that's a masculine that wants the same things that I want and they're too afraid to say it. And what's hard about that, what's painful, is the fact that when feminine recognizes that, feminine looks and goes, I cannot determine which it is. And that is why when a feminine encounters a masculine that isn't in that point of confidence, it is something that feminine has to navigate. The frightened masculine with the same amount of trepidation as the masculine that they have to potentially fear, because the inability to be able to see the reason for the inability to articulate the manifestation goals is such that you must assume the worst of the two possibilities in order to navigate safely through something, because it's all the same in the wash. The masculine energy that is fearful to speak their dreams becomes just as dangerous towards the feminine as the masculine that has a manifestation goal that's so beyond the pale that they don't want to reveal it to feminine. Because that is the modality of feminine having to navigate in a space and place in saying the love, the compassion, the security that we build for one another comes in the expression of speaking our dreams into reality with one another. So we see even here that for a lot of that energy, that ability of potentially even leaving a circumstance or situation and trying to articulate this to someone is like a lot of the work that we see that the feminine is trying to navigate, because the feminine's like the frustration point for some of the feminine leaving a situation like that is the feminine energy going, I might never know. I might never know which one of those two it was. But the feminine also says to themselves to a certain extent, it doesn't matter because it's the same. It's energetically the same. It creates the same pain within the feminine. A feminine navigating a masculine that is too afraid to speak their manifestation goals to feminine hurts just as much as a masculine that does not have healthy manifestation goals, because for feminine, it's the same experience. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy of the masculine coming towards feminine right now, the ability to either, again, this is either energy that's going into separation, and in separation, this is the feminine that's almost saying to masculine, thank you. Because even in the articulation, the conversation about what the masculine aspires, giving feminine that opportunity to have the choice in building, co-creating with the masculine, in that moment, the feminine says to masculine, thank you. I will never forget that. I will always remember that. Masculine doing the same towards feminine. The feminine that was able to navigate a space or place where masculine could be open. Feminine not taking it personally. Not holding judgment towards masculine's manifestation goals, but being able to be present, to be able to speak towards masculine and articulate their own. These are energies that come into separation and are still potentially on the road to coming into divine union, because in that modality, they say to one another, you see me. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for not judging my manifestation goal. Thank you for coming into a point that we could speak towards it. And that opens the possibility in terms of what could grow in the long term. And for a lot of energy right now coming into divine union, this is the energy that's moving towards each other with a lot of tenacity, a lot of expediency, because this is the energy that is effectively looking towards one another and saying, I found what I'm looking for. I found what I'm looking for. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within the divine union frequency right now, a lot of this work that we're seeing that's occurring right now deep within the divine union frequency, this is just, the only thing I want to say, please make sure that you're taking some care for the self right now, especially masculine energy, because I'm seeing even now a lot of this masculine energy putting in so much, facilitating so much of that work right now. It may lead to spaces and places of energetic exhaustion. Make sure that you're not overstressing. Make sure that you're taking that rest right now. Feminine, it might be a little bit feminine. Feminine, make sure you're not feeling overwhelmed. Masculine, don't overwork. Feminine, don't feel overwhelmed today is what I'm seeing. Because I see even now, this is like a lot of activation today. Like take things in stride. Continuing to get clarification between our 9 of Cups in its reversal in combination with our 6 of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. We like to see this card in its upright. We've got here our 10 of Swords in its upright. So for energy right now, like within the divine union, like a lot of this work is like, make sure, I mean, there's a lot of this work with energy in the divine union right now that is potentially just feeling like a little bit of this like Atlas energy, feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders right now. Be kind to yourself. Be mindful. Take those breaks. Remember that you're not alone in that energetic effort. Like, make sure that you're, make sure, and if you're feeling like that, make sure that you're not taking it out on those around you. Because I do see a little bit of this energy, even within divine union right now, potentially feeling a little energetically triggered is like what I'm seeing here. A little bit of that energetic trigger to a certain extent that can sometimes make you feel like none of your efforts are enough, right? So just be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with those around you today, because I see the problem today is tempers are short. And so when tempers are short, we want to be extra mindful of trying to be energetically patient. Continuing to get clarification for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. A lot of this work that I'm seeing coming into divine union, this is what I mean. This is either the energy coming into separation, and in the moment of separation, possibility opens up. This is the energy that's like separated, and they're still thinking about it. They're still thinking about it. They're still trying to determine if there's something there that can be that can be fixed. If there's something there about the manifestation goals that can become into a point of blending. If there's something that can be bendable here. So we see even now, this is either the energy feeling empowered to move forward, or in a moment of feeling like they're having new ideas. While for masculine and for energy that is in alignment, I just see the energy, they can't move fast enough right now. I just see a lot of energy just moving very quickly into divine union, because that's that moment where, again, the articulation of the manifestation goals, as well as the ability of seeing someone that shares them and articulating upon those emotions. This is energy that's feeling like this is like tidal wave. This is like getting stuff, like just moving towards, you can't move towards one another fast enough. While for masculine and feminine separation right now, I'm saying even now, only modality I'm seeing that is allowed, and I'm seeing this is the breakdown that has a breakthrough on the other side of it. Because if there's energy here that asks for clarification on the manifestation goals and that wasn't given, this is the energy that says, I've seen all I need to see. The lack of clarification is the clarification. Asking for something and not receiving it is the clarification. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, that's just that moment or that circumstance or situation that the energy just says, not everybody wants the same things I want. Some energy's totally like okay, building forth in a place where they're not building into that space or place of articulating upon the manifestation goals. Some energy is not looking to manifest with another counterpart. Some energy is just primarily on their own path work. This is the energy that's almost recognizing and saying, not going to try to drag someone who doesn't want to be in counterpart energy onto the path of counterpart. That never goes well. It's more just that moment of observing, of recognizing it, to be able to potentially, and this is the energy that's seeing it more quickly. And in the ability of seeing it more quickly, this is the energy that immediately feels healing, because this is the energy that doesn't take it personally. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Nine of Swords. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Cups in its upright. So for masculine and feminine energy in separation, I think the gift that's effectively occurring here is the emotion or the compassion and the healing that you're bringing yourself to the process in the process. Because if this is a modality or circumstance where in the past you would have like agonized, you would have like, made yourself wild, asking yourself, like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I make this work? The ability of identifying, oh, I can't make it work because there's nothing there to work with. Like, that's the energy that is effectively going into healing right now, because that's the energy that, again, doesn't hold yourself accountable for creating something in someone that isn't there. You're just using your powers of observation to recognize if it's there or not. So we see even now, this is the energy that is appreciating. The thing that's happening here is what would have been devastating is now frustrating. What you would have agonized over is now just feeling like this, because you're like, that's the ego that has gotten back in shape, that's able to protect. I told you, the shedding of the ego with the new egoic self that's occurring during this retrograde period, that says, oh, that has nothing to do with me. That's entirely them. Right? And so that modality where you don't take yourself accountable for someone else's path work, this is also just the energy that says, and this is the energy that's coming to the point of accepting and saying, I have to accept that energy that does not want to build healthy connections, that is just on prioritizing their own path work above others' energetic connections, is not inclined typically to articulate that that's the case. They're just not inclined to typically articulate that that's the case. They're not going to talk about the quality of an energetic connection because they're not desiring and aspiring for one. And they frequently don't discuss the fact that they don't want to talk about an energetic connection because they also recognize that that's usually a space where people move away from them. That's going to potentially, and that's because, and ironically, that's not because of the type of energetic connection that they desire and aspire for. It's because through the inability to articulate about the energetic connection, what they're really saying to someone is, not only do I want you in an unhealthy energetic connection, but I'm not giving you a choice. The unhealthiness, there is no energetic connection that is right or wrong. The only thing that is not correct in an energetic connection is not giving someone the choice to be able to be in one. So for the energy here, recognizing and identifying and saying, by not articulating what that is, by refusing to discuss it, what you're really doing is you are removing the possibility of allowing a relationship to be a choice. This is the energy that just says that is the quality of the relationship, and that's not the energy that tries to change it. That's just the energy that observes it. That's the insight that comes towards it. Continuing to get clarification, and that's why we see even now there's energy that's coming into separation, and there's a possibility of a connection in the future, because in the articulation of the fact that they want different things and not judging each other for what it is that they desire, they've introduced the possibility of a choice going forward. While for energy deep within the divine union frequency right now, remember, all you can do is everything that you can do. Don't get overstressed if you feel like you're giving through right now and it doesn't feel like it's enough. Be patient. You are enough. What you do is enough. Recognize that the energies around you will appreciate that. Don't take things personally right now. Continuing to get clarification, because I see even now there's a lot of that energy deep within the divine union that is feeling the frustration of giving to things and feeling like nothing that you give is enough. So remember, let that be a moment of building forth in that sense of self that says you are always enough. You are always enough. You are always valuable. You are always seen. You are always appreciated. It's just the rough fact that the energy that is often spends a lot of their time feeling like they're not. Continuing to get clarification between our Emperor in its reversal and our 10 of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our 4 of Pentacles in its reversal. A lot of energetic giving right now. I just see a lot of energetic giving. I want to say, make sure that you're just taking the time that you need today. Because I just keep seeing that there's something really important here in all of this energy of giving to a certain extent. That you come into that point of balance. Because even here, you have to recognize that care of the self is important. And that the ability to care for others also comes in one's own ability to care for yourself. So I see even now there may be a little bit of this push and pull right now in terms of some of the energy within divine union feeling overextended to a certain degree. So just be mindful of that. Don't let yourself get triggered. Don't let yourself get frustrated. Build into that point of balance while also maintaining one's own energetic standards, especially and particularly if there are circumstances or situations that you feel there is not balance in. Make sure that you're articulating upon it. You're not reacting to it. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Swords in its reversal. In combination, for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that's giving right now because there's been a breakthrough. I just see even now, this is a lot of energy that is working very quickly to try to build into energetic connections at this time, especially and particularly if there was anxiety about the feminine coming into that trust process. This is a lot of that masculine energy doing that work to reassure the feminine via trust, but the masculine energy in that healed state recognizing that words mean nothing without action. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, the healing that's effectively coming through on some circumstances is, again, the acknowledgement point that if you see something in another that isn't energetically ideal to a connection, you can articulate upon it to see if it can be modified. But if someone is resistant or reluctant to even speaking towards it, what they're basically saying is that you're going to be in a modality where you have to be forced to accommodate it. And so here we see that there's just that recognition point between masculine and feminine in terms of like understanding that. And if there's something there that we see that these energies have been trying to facilitate in relationality to speaking towards or building upon a pathwork of what that future looks like, this is the energy that just recognizes whether it's there or not, but doesn't hold themselves overly accountable if it's not. That perception is one, like the healing comes through in feeling the release of saying, it's not me, it's the situation, right? Like that is the healing of the point of pride and coming out of this retrograde season in Leo. There's a lot of energy coming through with a heightened degree of appreciation for themselves and what is something that needs to change internally versus what is something that is being externally navigated. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Wands in its reversal in combination with our 6 of Pentacles in its upright. Clarification coming through right now with, we have here our Empress in its reversal. Now I need to show you this. Do you see here? We've got here the combination of our Emperor and our Empress, but they're both in their reversal today. So I got to say, it's heavy energy today. It's heavy, frustrating energy. Everyone's feeling a little energetically low, which is why I'm saying I want you to navigate everything and everyone right now with like a high degree of compassion, because there's a little bit of like energetic shortness right now that we're effectively seeing. Now, masculine and feminine energy in separation. This is why I see this could be happening to both masculine and feminine in separation right now. There's a lot of this acknowledgement point. And I have to stress this though. Do you see how these energies, if in separation, navigating these scenarios, they're actually like in alignment. They're going through the same exact experience right now, which means that like via the separation from experiences that they realize are not for them. What happens when energy separates from experiences that they know are not for them? They move closer to their manifestation goals. So we see even now that for a lot of this energy in separation, that ability of potentially articulating, trying to get clarity as to what something is going to look like going forward, not necessarily receiving that, not holding oneself emotionally, energetically accountable for something that someone is not giving you, but appreciating that if you're asking for something from someone and they're not coming into a space of being inclined to articulate upon it, then they're really kind of defining the nature of the circumstance by which they are asking you to inhabit I just see a lot of energy right now in separation saying, this is not for me. This is not my person. This is not the one for me. Because this is a lot of the energy in separation that is saying, like, the lack of clarity, like, that is the affirmation, like, the lack of clarity, the confusion is the clarity, right? So we see even now, like, a lot of this energy that is in separation, maybe moving away from something where they're asking for clarity, and they're seeing in that moment that someone will not give clarity, that they're not the priority in an energetic connection. So we see even now a lot of that energy is potentially stepping away from something. Look how close these two are to potentially finding one another. I told you, you don't move towards your manifestation goals by saying yes to everything. You move towards a manifestation goal by learning the power of your no. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, a lot of this energy coming into divine union, this is, again, I see even now some energy that has parted ways. And has parted ways, but in the parting of ways, the ability to articulate to one another what it is that they seek, and to recognize that they are not in alignment. They're in alignment. They're in alignment. Because even in the articulation, when we have energy that is moving in such a way that they're giving each other that compassion, they're giving each other the clarity, they're giving each other the conversation. The only thing is off is the manifestation goals. Manifestation goals can change. So there, we see even there, even in that parting of ways, there's still possibility that those energies could come back together in the future if the manifestation goals change. While for the energy right now, this is why this energy is moving so quickly right now. If there was modalities or moments that was the combination of the expression of the emotions along with the ability to articulate about what those manifestation goals are. These are energies that if they're in alignment, they're like, what are we waiting for? Let's just do it. There could be a lot of energy that's just like doing like a lot of like, but I want to say it's not out of the blue. It's a breakthrough, right? That's the difference between doing something that's like, spontaneous versus doing something that had a lot of buildup prior to that moment. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within the divine union frequency right now, this is the energy deep within the divine union frequency that just needs, like, I want to say it needs a self-care day. This is energy that just feels like it's run ragged. There's just a lot of emotional heaviness here. There's a lot, this is just coming out of the retrograde. Feeling like you've been doing alliance, like, I have to put it this way, I have to stress this, the energy within the divine union frequency feels like they've been carrying a lion's share of the weight during this Leo retrograde season. Because a lot of this, I keep saying you see that a lot of this energy within divine union has been putting in a lot of work, has had to have a lot of patience, has had to navigate a lot of interpersonal issues, has had to take a lot of these modalities of having to push their ego aside and be productive in the face of things that would have previously triggered them. So it's not surprising to see that this energy right now coming out of this retrograde is just feeling a little energetically exhausted. It's been a week. So we see even now the gift that we're seeing that energy gives is that the restorational point comes between one another. Final card for today's spread between our Four of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Empress in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Two of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Deep within the divine union frequency. I want to say the only difficulty that I'm seeing right now, and I want to kind of caution the energy that may be feeling this, is that feeling of kind of having that sensation of being like us against the world. of like everything, like no one kind of rallying towards one another, feeling that sense of being able to navigate in a way that feels like it really is like there's something a little isolationist that's happening right now for some of the energy deep within divine union, in that feeling that is the expression of the self, like the counterparts against the world. Don't move into that narrative. It's not true. It's not true. It just feels like that at times. Remember, everyone else is going through the retrograde too. So making sure that you navigate that with like a bit of empathy, a bit of consideration, like, you know, be the force of change. Be the room. You know, be the place where the compassion starts, especially if you're feeling that around you. While for masculine and feminine energy, coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that it cannot get closer fast enough to each other. I just keep hearing, I can't get to you fast enough. So for a lot of this energy, that expectation, that anticipation, that desire to kind of come into union, for so much of this energy, this is why like that anxiety is potentially building. Because if this is the energy that's expressed both the emotions and has had that breakthrough and sharing the dreams with one another, this is a lot of that energy that's like moving towards one another with like rapidness, to be able to feel like they can kind of like amplify that those weren't just words, those were action. This is the energy like moving everything out of the way. All that matters is the connection. While for a lot of the energy right now in separation, this is a lot of complete like separation from things, with the recognition point of saying, this is not what I desire, or this like looking towards like a possible counterpart and saying to the self, this isn't a pet project. This isn't something about cultivating an energy in another. This is looking towards someone and saying, do they bear the qualities and characteristics of someone that is seeking divine union? And there may be a lot of energy that's looking towards someone right now and saying, you know what? They would be great if they wanted it, but if they don't want it, that is an absolute no. Someone could be ideal for you, but if they don't want the same things you want, they're the furthest thing. They're the furthest thing that would be best for you. So this is a lot of the energy that's like potential. I even see a lot of energy right now that is looking towards someone and saying like, you know, we'd look really good together. This would be a great match. We would look good on paper, but we want very different things. They don't want the same things that I want, right? I can see this even now. Like this is the energy that's going. It's a shame because this person, they would be perfect if not for the fact that they don't want the same things that I want. So we see even now a lot of that energy potentially recognizing that is the energy that says that it doesn't matter what the potential. This is a lot of energy going, it's sad because I could see a lot of potential. But potential is not reality. Reality is reality. So we see even now that this could be a lot of the energy that's moving away from someone because the inability to articulate about what those manifestation goals are. Like that's just the acceptance point. Bottom of the deck. I gotta say this again right now, my friends. I know you don't like to hear it. Manifestation, the power of manifestation isn't in your yes, it's in your no. If you want to move towards the things that you desire, you have to be ready to say no to the things that you don't. If you want to move towards the things that you desire, you have to be ready to say no to the things that you don't. So we see even now that a lot of that energy doing that work, it feels frustrating. This could be energy that you're saying to yourself, why do I keep encountering things that are not my manifestation goal? Because you're not staying around for them. How else do you expect to find your manifestation goal? Right? I know that that's hard to hear. But remembering that every time you say no to something, you move closer to your yes. That ability of identifying that. It's not the fact that there isn't space to be able to cultivate. It doesn't require something to be energetically perfect, but it does require the ability to articulate and recognize that if you're moving towards your manifestation goals, finding someone that is equally invested in doing that work is not a nice to have, it's a need to have. So a lot of this energy is basically moving away from those scenarios or situations. It feels like you have to track someone down and say, hey, you're my manifestation, come here. Why would your manifestation be running from you? Why would your manifestation be running from you? So we see even now, I mean, is your manifestation goal a game of tag? If your manifestation goal is a game of tag, then yes, then maybe that's what you're seeking. But we see even now that for a lot of this energy, focusing, it's a recognition that when we focus on our manifestation goals, we have to be prepared to say no to whatever is not it. So we see even now that a lot of that energy here, there's disappointment, right? There's frustration. There could even be a lot of energy in separation, being like, I thought that was them. They fit the bill. But if this is, I want to point out, the difference between a manifestation and a decoy is whether it looks like it's what you expect it to be, it's whether it's moving in the direction that you aspire it to go. So make sure that you're not think carefully about what your manifestation goals are and ask yourself, is the person that you're connecting to, do they aspire for the same things? Because that is how you reach your manifestation. You determine if someone desires the same things as you. So we see even now for a lot of the energy recognizing that is a bit of the breakthrough that's occurring right now. And again, an energy that has a manifestation goal that they want to build with another is going to be in a place or space where they articulate what that is. Energy that does not, will not. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, a lot of this work that we're seeing that's occurring right now coming into divine union, this is the energy that is recognizing they've spoken about those manifestation goals, but they also are feeling a lot of that trust process in recognizing that words mean nothing without action. So that's why we see so much of this energy right now doing that work, facilitating those changes in order to help recognize and say to someone, I know that you're trepidatious. I'm going to show you don't have to be. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, these frustration points, like a lot of this energy is just feeling a little bit of that energetic exhaustion to a certain extent. Because a lot of this energy is just hoping or building to that point wherein things can get energetically easier. So this is a lot of the work that we see that the energy deep within the divine union is navigating, trying to reach their manifestation goals, feeling like they're not necessarily there in the process, but trying to build a space or place that we want to say that one of the ways we navigate a manifestation goal is enjoying every step on the way, creating an environment that feels like a joy. So we see even now a lot of that work within deep within divine union, maybe articulating upon how to make the journey between manifestation goals less stressful than we see presently, because a lot of this energy is in a modality of exhaustion right now. That is our daily collective energy update. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, Strega.com. Booking a private reading with me is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates prior to us going into our personal readings for today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our last tarot class on the Emperor. Our next tarot class will be held on September 11th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you would like to become part of our tarot class program, head over to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack will grant you access and entry to each month's live classes. You'll also have access to the materials and the courses of all the previous classes. So you've got a full month to catch up. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions you may have in relation to anything that we're learning. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary mentorship reading with me, wherein we will assess where you you are in your own personal tarot journey, and I'll give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I really tried to do in these classes was make them so that they were accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you if you're joining us there, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, events, courses. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will give you a full update on my live schedule. You'll also get notified of any giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, we are now in the midst of our August giveaway. We've only got a few days left to enter. So if you would like to enter to win a potential free private tarot reading with me, there is a 2-minute travel survey on my Linktree. Filling out that travel survey will grant you an entry into the giveaway, but if you would like to increase your chances of winning, go ahead and forward that survey to a friend, because when I announce the winner, I will be giving away a free reading not only to the person who wins, but also to the person who referred them. Finally, I want to let you guys know of a few new offerings I now offer on top of my standard life path readings. I now offer tarot mentorship classes. These can be focused on whatever course and area of study that you are interested in pursuing. I take a limited number of students for this reason. If you'd like to become a part of that, you can purchase those classes on an individual level or as a monthly class series. So that's 4 45-minute classes, one per month over the span of a month. And for those clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to be offering weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, one per week over the span of a month, so that you can stay more consistent on your own journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again